What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Duffy Geeks Out. Today we are going to be reviewing Thor Love and Thunder, the latest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the fourth film in the Thor franchise, and the second one directed by Taika Waititi. In this film, we see Thor, everybody's favorite god of thunder, going up against the new villain in the form of Christian Bale's Gorr the God Butcher. Now, for comic fans out there, Gorr the God Butcher is a serious threat with major powers and is decimating gods across the galaxy in a revenge quest to deal with a big issue in his past that he has with gods. This film handles the gore stuff beautifully. Christian Bale is fantastic. Another one of those awesome villains that comic book movies can have where you super relate to their backstory and what they're trying to do, and if they just weren't going up against your hero, then you would think they should be the hero of that story themselves. And it's not any different for Gorr. The issue with Gorr is his character is so serious and his story is so serious that putting it in this movie kind of doesn't do him justice, because he is such a serious character. To be slapped in the middle of a 2-hour comedy feels a little funny, right? Now, if you were a fan of Thor Ragnarok or a fan of Taika Waititi's movies, you should expect this going into this movie. And if you're ready for it and you love that kind of movie, you will have a blast with Thor Love and Thunder. If you're expecting a serious movie with serious stakes and serious action because of the character of Gorr, again, which is not ridiculous to expect because that's what the character deserves, then you are going to be disappointed, I think. And the reviews out there for sure are split on this movie or whether or not people like it or not. I haven't read the audience reaction. I'm just going based on Rotten Tomatoes, which is never really the best way to go if you're a fan of these kinds of things. You should always go to your favorite YouTubers and find out what they think, because they tend to think the way that you do, I think. Anyways, get back to the plot of this movie. Aside from just dealing with Gorr, Thor also has a bit of a hiccup in his life in the form of Natalie Portman's Jane Foster coming back into it. Natalie Portman's character has an incredible arc in this movie. Again, wasted in the comedy aspects of this film, if I'm being honest. Her character has stage 4 cancer and is looking for anything to help her survive the cancer. So much so that she starts looking into the fantastical elements of the world that she knows. Specifically, she goes looking for Mjolnir, thinking that maybe, just maybe, if she can get that hammer and be worthy, then the powers of Thor will protect her from her cancer. Turns out that she's half right. She's able to pick up the hammer and imbued with the power of Thor, which gives her life purpose, but it's slowly killing her. Now, if anybody out there has read the comic run for the Mighty Thor, you know that this is exactly what happens in the comic run, right? The issue here, again, like I already stated, is that this is a serious thing that should have been handled more seriously. And I'm not saying that there aren't serious beats in this movie, and the chemistry between Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman is off the charts in this movie. Definitely the best they've ever had in any of the times they've been on the movie, in any of these movies together. And it's just a shame that, that this comedy is built around these serious things. Marvel has a history, for me specifically, of hitting us with some comedies at the wrong times, right? Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, handles comedy very well, the first movie, where there is enough of a serious story and enough heart in it that the jokes don't feel too layered on, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I despise. It's my least favorite Marvel movie, to be honest, because it's just joke after joke after joke, right? Now, you'd expect me to feel that same way about Thor Ragnarok, the previous Thor movie, but I don't, and I don't know if that's because I love Taika Waititi so much and I love his movies that I can look past that. Might be a little bit of a bias on my part. Coming into this movie, I felt the same way. I was able to look past these issues that I have with it being a full comedy and the serious elements, because I love Taika Waititi movies and I love the way that Chris Hemsworth handles comedy as Thor. So for me, the movie worked, but I would have liked if there was a little less jokes and a little more staying on the serious beats when they come up. Anyways, this movie's great. It hits a whole bunch of different areas. It expands the Thor and God-like pantheons, as you've seen in the trailer. Russell Crowe plays Zeus, and it is freaking hilarious when he gets on stage. Over the top, for sure. I mean, Taika Waititi's letting these people just fly with whatever they want to do in these character moments. But he's a little over the top, expands the pantheon of gods, obviously going from the Norse gods to the Greek gods, and it's pretty hilarious when they come into play. But the story comes to a head with Chris Hemsworth needing to obviously stop Gore from reaching his ultimate goal, which this is where the plot falls off the rails a little bit for me. It's one of those convenient plot stories versus just the plot to me would have been he was just going around killing gods single-handedly, which Gore does do in the series, in the movie. But they add in this wishing well plot line where Gore's going to get to this wishing well at the center of the universe and wish that all gods are destroyed because of the death of his family. And it seems a little weird. It seemed like a little like convenient to write that plot line in. And I know it's a comic book movie. I shouldn't expect the top-notch writing, but it just seemed like a really weird thing when you already have him just doing his mission, killing these gods. And I don't know. To me, that was a little weak to write that in the way that they did. But it didn't detract from the comedy, didn't detract from the scenes of the actors chewing up the scenery like they are. So again, I give it a pass there. But overall, guys, I'm going to end this video now. My rating on this movie, I think that if this weren't a Taika Waititi movie, and this was just some other Marvel movie that had the same problems that I have with it, I'd probably give it like a C. Right? But because I love Taika Waititi movies and I love the way that Chris Hemsworth handles the comedy and Christian Bale just knocking it out of the park as Gore the God Butcher, I think that I'm going to give this movie a B- as a score, but as a grade. So anyways, I'm curious what you guys think. If you've seen Thor Love and Thunder, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Let me know where this falls with your Thor movies. For me, this is probably the second best Thor movie under Thor Ragnarok. Definitely better than the first one. Definitely better than Thor the Dark World. But let me know if you had the same problems I did. I would love to hear if you guys had no problems with the comedy or if that you, like me, wish that they had just taken a little pause from time to time to kind of flush out some more of those, dramatic scenes. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you could do me the hugest favor of smashing that like button and subscribing to this channel, I'll come back to you with some more content later on. See you later.